This is chapters 27 through 31 of 1 Samuel. The end of 26, King Saul blesses David and says, I will not harm you again. You bested me twice, and now go on your way in freedom. David learns from his past that Saul is always full of it, and David decides to believe that Saul's going to come after him again, so he flees to the Philistines' land. He goes to King Achish in Gath, and the king welcomes him in as his servant, and David becomes a warrior for the Philistines because he keeps getting pursued by his own people, the Israelites, with King Saul. So now he's fighting against all the Israelites with King Achish. 600 men follow David into this land, and his two wives, Abinoam and Abigail, both follow him to the land of Ziklag. Now David went on raiding parties, and he went all the way from the land of Shur to Egypt, destroying Israelites, Amalekites, and anybody in his way. He would destroy everything in his sight. The young, old, women, every living thing he destroyed to get rid of the evidence so nobody could go and spread his name throughout the land that he was doing such a thing. King Achish sees David being so obnoxious to the people of the Israelites that he says, you are going to be my servant for life. You are my warrior. So King David gets a spot in the land of Gath. King Achish says, we are going to the land of the Israelites now, and we're going to fight against them. Will you be by our side during this major battle that we're going on? David says, I am your servant. I will show you what I can do. Let's see what your servant can do. King Achish says, you are going to be my personal bodyguard. That's who you'll be. That's how much they trusted each other. Saul goes to acquire the Lord, and the Lord is not answering him about this upcoming battle from the Philistines. So he becomes terrified. He worries. He sends servants to go find a medium. This was after he expelled all the mediums from the land of Israel. And all the mediums were either went into the underground or they left. They stopped doing their practice. But they found one, and when Saul goes to her in Endor, she says, King Saul has made a decree that I shall not be a medium. I should not channel spirits for you. And it was King Saul. But he didn't say anything. He was disguised. As surely as the Lord lives, you shall not be punished, King Saul says to the medium. And she says, who should I bring up? Bring up Samuel, the prophet Samuel. Samuel comes up out of the ground in a ghostly figure. And as soon as the medium sees Samuel, she realizes that King Saul is the one who she's doing this medium for. And she screams out, you are Saul, you have deceived me. You have brought the prophet Samuel. Samuel says, why have you disturbed me in my peace? Saul says, I have inquired the Lord, he hasn't answered me. The Philistines are coming. What should I do? Samuel says, the Lord has done exactly what I told you back in the past, what I prophesied, that he's going to tear your kingdom apart, rip it out of your hands, and give it over to King David. And at this, Saul grows faint, and he's terrified inside because he knows doomsday is coming. All his soldiers, warriors, the whole Israelite land is about to be destroyed. He's about to be destroyed. His servants come in and give him some food, force feed him to get his strength back, just so he can stand and lead again. He knows doom is coming. But that was chapter 28. Chapter 29 starts with the Philistines going to raid the Israelites, all in a big, massive, hundreds of thousands of soldiers. David and his men march in the back with the king, his 600 men. And the commanders go to King Achish and they say, why should we fight with David, who used to fight against us? What if he turns on us? This is a perfect opportunity to show his allegiance to King Saul again and to the Israelites. King Achish trusts David to be his servant and to fight the Israelites. He has been doing that. But the commanders insist, and King Achish says, to David, "Go back to your land. The commanders do not want you to fight with us. Go back to our land in Ziklag. Go back to Ziklag, our land, where your wife and family is. Go back and protect them." This was all in God's plan, because when he goes back in chapter 30, he finds it completely destroyed with all the young, old, the wives, everybody missing. The Amalekites came and destroyed and stole the plunder because all the men were off fighting for King Achish. Amalekites knew that it was vulnerable, so they were plundering the land all around. David and his men fall into a deep weep until they can't anymore, till all their strength is gone. They lost everything. Some of the men didn't even have strength to get up and go search for the Amalekites. David got strength from the Lord, goes to inquire the Lord, "Will you give the Amalekites into my hand if I go pursue them?" The Lord says, "Yes, you will succeed in the rescue." So with this, he gathers as many men as he can, 400, with enough strength, and they go find a servant, an Egyptian servant of the Amalekites who was left by them. This servant is fed, given raisin cakes. They treat him very well, and they ask for information. They say, "Where has the Amalekites gone?" They ask him who he is, and he says openly that he's a servant of the Amalekites, and they just raided Ziklag and the surrounding areas. "And they left me here, all alone. I'm just the servant." So he points them in a direction. He says, "Swear to me before God that you will not kill me or give me over to my master. I will take you down to them." He doesn't like his master. He doesn't like the Amalekites. He is just a lonely man who got dissed by them. And the servant gives them up. That's why you don't leave men behind. They become your enemies. And this is why David killed everybody in the previous battles. Now David finds all the Philistines completely scattered throughout the country, and he finds them drinking, reveling, celebrating all the plunder that they just acquired. He destroys everybody except for 400 get on some camels and get out of Dodge. He rescues all the families, all the plunder. He gets his wives. He is the hero once again. The men go back to the 200 that are in Ziklag, and they demand that they do not get the plunder that the 400 men worked for, and they stir up trouble. David, as a leader, says no. Just like these men protected our home base, they split up the plunder evenly. And with this, let us give the plunder over back to the lands that it comes from and gift it to the surrounding areas. He sent it all out throughout the land that he roamed. He became famous. That's the end of 30. 31, this is when the Philistines and King Achish make it to Mount Gilboa, and this is where a battle takes place, and they destroy the Israelites completely. They all fall, including King Saul's sons. Jonathan falls, Abinadab falls, and Malchi-Shua falls. All of King Saul's sons fall at Mount Gilboa. Saul gets away with his armor bearer, and he says to his armor bearer, "Take your sword and plunge it through my chest. Kill me." His armor bearer says, "Never, King, I will never." So King Saul takes his sword and he falls on it, killing himself. The armor bearer does the same exact thing. The Philistines find their bodies. They take King Saul to Beth Shan and hang his armor up on a Ashtoreth pole, which is against the Israelites to worship. It's idolatry to God. And they hang up his body on the wall of Beth Shan. Jabesh Gilead, the place that Saul initially saved in the start of his kingship and military might, they all mourn for him because they love that they still have a lot of allegiance to Saul. That's their king, and the Israelites did too. Jabesh Gilead, go find his body and give him the respect he deserves. They burn his body They bury his bones, and they mourn and fast for 7 days. That's the end of 31, and that's the end of 1 Samuel. 2 Samuel is next.